Quadrilateral object details. The A-label program can create what are called quadrilateral objects. A quadrilateral is almost like a rectangle or an oval, but it can have an odd shape determined by 4 straight edges. To create a new default quadrilateral object, select the Quadrilateral Creation tool in the lower toolbar. The cursor will change to indicate a quadrilateral object, and if you then left-click anywhere on the label, the program will draw a quadrilateral object whose upper left bounding box corner will be at the point where you clicked. The quadrilateral will remain selected. When a quadrilateral is selected, you will see a bounding box with 4 little white squares in its corners. These squares are an indication that you cannot resize a quadrilateral by grabbing and stretching a black handlebar. If you need to resize a quadrilateral, you can right-click it and select the menu item Resize Quadrilateral. A new dialog will appear with a slider control. Now you can drag the slider control to change the size of the quadrilateral. Note that the shape and aspect ratio of its parts remain proportional as you either enlarge or shrink it. If the slider reaches an extreme endpoint of its range, you can click the Reset button to cause it to be recentered, and then you can continue to drag the slider and continue expanding or contracting the quadrilateral. To unselect the quadrilateral, just click in any white space area of the label and you will see the bounding rectangle and the white handlebars disappear to indicate the quadrilateral is no longer selected. A newly created quadrilateral has a gray color and does not appear to have a borderline. However, like rectangles and ovals and arrows, a quadrilateral can have a borderline. If you don't want a borderline, you should make the borderline color the same as the fill color. Borderlines can be made with any thickness or color. Borderlines can also have a line style that is either solid or dashed or dotted. In fact, quadrilateral borderlines function identically to arrow and oval and rectangle borderlines. To manually edit the properties of a quadrilateral, you can either right-click it to bring up a Properties menu item, or you can just click it to select it, and then you can click the Properties button in the upper toolbar. Either way, you would bring up the dialog box that shows all the properties of the currently selected quadrilateral. Here we can see the X and Y coordinates of the 4 vertex points of the quadrilateral. There is a special list of shapes that you can quickly make out of any quadrilateral. The random choice simply makes a new quadrilateral randomly shaped. The rectangle choice will make a rectangle that is twice as wide as it is high. The rhombus choice will make a shape that is like a square that has been pushed to one side. The square choice will make a square. The triangle choice will make a triangle. The trapezoid choice will make an isosceles trapezoid. The most significant property of a quadrilateral can be demonstrated by first left-clicking it to select it, and then click the Control Points tool in the lower toolbar. You will see the 4 vertex points of the quadrilateral with red labels as P1, P2, P3, and P4. Now you can grab any control point and drag it to a new location. The quadrilateral is reshaped as any vertex point gets moved to a new position. In this fashion, you can make any 4-sided shape for your quadrilateral. One special idea is related to the triangle shape. When you use the drop-down list in the Properties dialog to make a triangle shape, the program simply makes points P2 and P3 have the same coordinates. This means if you want to reshape the quadrilateral, You should only try moving points P1 and P4. You may need to be reminded that to exit from the Control Points mode, you must click either the Selection tool or the Control Points tool in the lower toolbar. You will know you have exited the special mode because the 4 red points will disappear. The borderline of a quadrilateral can have any thickness, and it can have one of 3 line styles. The default quadrilateral has a solid line style, but because the default borderline color is the same as the interior fill color, you don't see any borderline when you create a new quadrilateral. We are now going to change the border to have a blue color. We bring up the Properties dialog to do that. We will also make the borderline 0.02 inches thick. Finally, we choose a dashed line style for the borderline. Note the quadrilateral now has a blue dashed borderline. This concludes the video describing the basic properties of quadrilaterals.